My big story is this big adventure. And part of that is a wonderful opportunity I have to actually meet the amazing people with big stories and see the places they live, work, and make a difference. And for me to travel to each of these people, you might assume there is something special about each one of them. Okay, so keep that in mind as I tell you this. I hopped in a plane from California, traveling to Nashville, Tennessee, and then rented a car and drove to Huntsville, Alabama. Then, what if I told you that sound you're hearing is of me using a leaf blower to clear grass clippings, helping my guest be of service to his community? And what if I told you this is from a Facebook live stream? You might be thinking this person must be very special to get me to do all of that. And you know what? You'd be right. This is My Big Story, and I'm Christopher Swan. Hello.
Oh, look at you. This is not a setup. She didn't even know I was coming today.
This seems like a setup.
No, did you know I was coming today? I didn't.
That man you heard knocking on the door and talking? That's Rodney Smith Jr. Originally from Bermuda, he relocated to Huntsville for college in 2009. He's currently finishing up his master's in social work, graduating in just a few weeks. Well, that's a great start to his story. But Rodney's story is even bigger, and that has me inspired. While still in school, he started something remarkable, something called Raising Men Lawn Care Service. And believe it or not, it's taking the ordinary service of our lawns to mean something bigger. Rodney, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, I'm super glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that we spent the day, even the morning, mowing lawns and seeing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and we put you to work, and you have a Mrs. B. You said you haven't cut since you was about young.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was that bad.
Nah, you done pretty good.
It came right back to me,
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah. I thought, but I don't miss this. I don't miss not having a lawn.
Yeah.
It is work. I mean,
It is.
Okay, so let's talk about Raising Men. So you founded Raising Men Lawn Care Service, which I also discovered today that you're converting it to a nonprofit foundation, which is awesome. So it's grown a lot from its beginning, which was not too long ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, a year. Yeah, so a year or so.
Yeah, I mean, time flies for that. So here's when I did some research, I've heard you tell the story of how you started it, like what kind of caught your eye. Because you noticed a senior having a difficult time cutting his lawn. I'm just hoping that maybe you could tell me that story and then what happened immediately afterwards to start Raising Men.
Okay. Well, either in August or September of 2015, I was leaving school, driving home, and I was going over this hill. And as I was driving up this hill on my right-hand side, it was this elderly man outside cutting his lawn, and I can tell that he was struggling by the way he's pushing it. So I pulled over and I helped him out, and that night I decided to go home, and I wrote on Facebook, if anyone, that's the night I decided to cut lawns free for the elderly, disabled, single parent mothers of veterans. And that night I went on Facebook and asked people if they knew anyone who was elderly, disabled, single parent mother or veteran that needed a lawn cut. Please let me know and I'll cut it for free. And that's how it all started. At first, my goal was to cut 40 lawns by the end of winter. With me being in college, I thought it was reasonable. But I reached 40 lawns so quick that I upped my goal to 100 lawns. And then like a month and a half later, after that, I reached my 100th lawn. And this was like in November of sometime of 2015. And that's when I came up with the idea of Raising Men Lawn Care Service. And Raising Men Lawn Care Service in Huntsville officially kicked off in January 2016. Because in December 2015, I went back home to Bermuda to start the first official chapter there. during Christmas time. Then I came back. Then January 2016, the official Raising Men Lawn Care Service chapter started in the United States of America, in Huntsville, Alabama.
How did you go from this number that you had in your head, like, 40, and now you're 100? How did you go from that to, oh, I should start organization, start a foundation? Like, why did you want to do that versus just continue to do what you were doing?
At first, it was a lot of parents, like single moms saying, oh, I want my son to come out with you and stuff like that. And that's what kind of got the whole idea of involving kids, especially young men, to get involved with the program. And I remember when I announced it on Facebook, I had all these mothers come to me, oh, signing my son up. He's coming out with you, this and that. So, that was good to see. We started off so small, and we have kids now nationwide taking part in the program. So it's a beautiful thing.
Tell me more about exactly how it works. How do people get involved? Who's involved? How do they get involved?
Okay, well, we mow lawns free for the elderly, disabled, single parent mothers, and veterans. And we also include kids ages 7 to 17 to come out, and we mentor them and we show them the importance of giving back to the community. So when the kid first joins, they start with the white shirt.
Like what I'm wearing right now.
We give you a white shirt, yeah. A white shirt. And once you cut 10 lawns, you get an orange shirt, 20 a green, 30 a blue, 40 a red, and 50 a black. It's kind of like the karate system. So let's say you were one of my kids in the program and you completed 50 yards. So you get your black shirt along with a certificate. And then let's say we have another kid in Los Angeles that wants to take part in the program, and they will take part in the 50-yard challenge. And that's them doing what we're doing here, but by themselves. So they're cutting 50 free yards in their city or state for the elderly, disabled, single parent mothers, and veterans. And when they sign up, they will write a sign saying, I accept the 50-yard challenge, and send a picture of me holding that sign. And in return, they will receive the white shirt along with shades and ear protection. And once they cut 10 lawns, they get orange, 20 a green, 30 a blue, 40 a red, and 50 a black. But for once they complete the 50-yard challenge, I'll fly down to them. I'll do lawns with them. I'll give them the black shirt along with 5 other different color Raising Men Lawn Care Service shirts, a certificate, and I also surprise them with a brand new lawnmower. And we have kids nationwide that are taking part in this 50-yard challenge. And we also have 2 young men in England right now that are taking part in the 50-yard challenge as well.
I love that it's crossed the ocean.
Yeah.
Have you flown anywhere yet? Has anybody completed it?
Oh, yeah. Well, we had a family of 5 in Texas. They completed it. Been there. 2 best friends in, it might be Minneapolis, I forget. 2 best friends out there, they completed it. We had a young man in Kansas, a young man in Ohio.
Wow, that's more than I thought. So have you been able to like send them all their stuff?
Yeah. I flew down to them and given them the lawnmowers once they completed and stuff. So it's been good, kids taking part of it. I just came back from North Carolina. I had 2 brothers out there that completed the 50-yard challenge as well. And the next young man that's going to complete it is a young man in Michigan. He slowed down because the season's getting the snow and stuff. So he slowed down for the season. Then there's another young lady in Iowa that's taking part in the 50-yard challenge, and she's in her 30s.
Oh yeah, 30, not far off.
Yeah. So, and in the winter we also include the leaf raking and snow shoveling the driveways and the sidewalk. So
it's not just the mowing the lawn; it's like taking care of the yard.
Taking care of the yard, and it's around the calendar. So 12 months we're at it.
Would you describe what you were doing on this 50-state tour? Like, what was the purpose and what was it?
Well, I'm interning. I was interning then. I think it was on a Thursday or Friday. I was in internship on my lunch break. And one thing I do is watch a lot of documentaries on Netflix. So I was on my lunch break, picked the documentary to watch. And this documentary was this gentleman that traveled the world off the acts of kindness. I forget his name. I forget his name. It can't come to me right now. But he traveled the world on the acts of kindness, just the acts of kindness of people. And as I started watching that video, something just clicked off. 50 states, 50 lawns. And that's when I called one of the guys that helped us with PR, Jake. Said, Jake, I had this idea. Told him the idea. Oh man, I love this idea. I love it. He said Eastern Coast Briggs and Stratton, because Briggs and Stratton have been supporters of Raising Man Lawn Care Service, and Briggs and Stratton is the world's largest makers in small lawnmower engines in the world. So I told him the idea. So that night I went home and looked at a map, and I planned out a route. Said, okay, the biggest states are on the West Coast. So I done a tracing all the way up to Washington, made my way around, big circle, kind of. So I done that. Then I made a website. Then I told the Facebook family, I have an announcement to make. This is what I came up with the idea in February. I told them I have an announcement to make, building up the hype. So during this whole time, I was making a website and all that type of stuff, getting things ready. Then March 6th came, March 6th came, and I announced it to the Facebook family that I plan to travel the nation, mowing lawns in all 50 states for someone who's either elderly, disabled, single parent mother, or veteran. And I asked them if they knew of any one of the four in the state, where I'm going, and people start sending requests. Oh, my grandmother, my mother. Oh, I'm elderly. Oh, I'm disabled. And they signed themselves up, and I just went. So this started on May 10th. May 10th, I started the whole journey. Went to Mississippi first, then Tennessee, made my way around. It took 39 days.
And were you driving to all these states?
Yeah, I drove to 48 states, and I flew to 2, which is Alaska and Hawaii. I met a lot of incredible people along the way and cut a lot of different types of lawns. It was beautiful, man. Got to see the landscape. I mean, America is a very beautiful place.
Mm-hmm. When you were traveling on these different days, I mean, did you have an outpouring of even, I'm just thinking about the logistics of it. Like, where did you stay? How did that work out?
Oh, well, I knew beforehand it would be kind of difficult to plan hotels ahead of time. So one thing I done was just by the end of the night, I would go on Expedia and just book a hotel. Mm-hmm. People sponsored my hotels, but Briggs and Stratton, the world's largest makers in lawnmower engines, they've supported the whole mission. So they contributed funds to the whole journey.
That's great.
And even my lawnmower equipment, they contributed as well. And once I made it to Wisconsin, where the headquarters is, we had a big day. It's a big community day. They had about 70 employees come out, and we mowed 70 plus lawns, free for the elderly, disabled, single parent mothers, and veterans in Wisconsin. And that was beautiful, man. So they all came to my lawn, and then we just dispersed to different lawns and stuff.
And you started in May, and you said, 39 days?
Yeah, about 39 days, yeah.
So you finished sometime in June?
Yeah, June 19th, something like that.
How did you fit Hawaii and Alaska in there? Did you fly just in the middle somewhere, or was it toward the end? Or?
Oh, yeah, I drove around all 48 states, finished in Alabama. Then once I got to Alabama, heading to that lawn in Alabama, I was trying to find a lawn in Alaska and Hawaii because I couldn't find one beforehand. So I found one. So that night I booked a ticket for the next day. Wow. So I done the lawn in Alabama. It was near Montgomery, Alabama, about 3 hours from Huntsville. So I finished that lawn and got back to Huntsville about 9 o'clock that night. About 5 o'clock that morning, on the next flight, headed to Alaska. Flew to Alaska, stayed there about 3 days.
That's a long flight.
Yeah. Oh, man. Then I flew down to Hawaii, but in Alaska, it's daylight during the summer.
Yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah, I forget.
I couldn't do that. I mean, you had to close the blinds. You had to put blankets over your head because it's daylight. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then in winter, it's the opposite.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Something to get used to.
I could do the daylight more than I could do the night.
I could do light. I couldn't do the daylight. It's something to get used to.
Earlier you mentioned, some of the kids were slowing down because of the winter months. Mm-hmm. But I also know that doesn't mean that you guys aren't doing something.
Yeah.
And you are doing, it's more than just this lawn. Like, for example, today we went out and mowed a lawn, and then from, I'm horrible with name, Miss Jefferson?
Yeah, Miss Jefferson.
Miss Jefferson also then gave you all this holiday wrap, Christmas paper and stuff, because you're doing something else. So what are the other things that you're doing even beyond just taking care of your yard? Oh,
so another thing we're doing is helping the homeless. Last year, November, I was driving to a lawn, and I pulled over to a gas station. I saw this homeless guy that knocked on my windows. Said he slept across the field the night before, and it was real cold. I went inside the gas station. The attendant told me that the homeless man did, in fact, sleep across in the field last night and it was really cold, and that gave me the idea to do something. So that night I went back home on my Facebook. I told them what happened that day, and I told them I would like to do something, and I asked them if they have any jackets or any used clothes that they'd like to donate for me to give out to homeless. Please send it to me. Then someone mentioned you should make an Amazon wish list and we can send you things right to your house. They don't even need my address because Amazon already had it set up. You just add your address and all they need to do is just buy the item that you put in your list and it come right to you. And the output was a lot. A lot of people started sending stuff and I just gave gifts away. And Christmas was a month later, so I decided to bring Christmas to the homeless. So I bought a tree from Walmart that lit up from my car and I took Christmas to the homeless. So I lit this tree up from my car and I had gifts when they came out from their camps around the tree, and they loved it, because they haven't experienced Christmas in so long. And this year I plan to do the same thing. This year I've even received even more things, So it's a lot of stuff in my garage right now that people have sent. And this Sunday I plan to have a big gift wrapping party. So I've invited people from the community in Huntsville, Alabama, to come to my house and help me wrap these gifts. So that's the plan for this Sunday. Yeah.
I can't help but think with all the lawns that we're talking about, flying all over, not just for this tour, but now for these kids that are, completing these challenges.
Yeah.
It's becoming more popular. I've seen how many people are loving you guys online. And, now during the holidays and different times, you're doing more and more. It sounds like things are really growing.
Yeah.
Like there's momentum.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah, of course.
I also know that you're in school.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the big why you're doing all of this? Because as this grows, this becomes more popular, it takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to take more of your time in the future. So what's the big motivator for you to do this? What drives you to want to continue and participate?
Because I know there's a need, the service that we offer, a free service, but I've come across so many elderly people that can't afford it, so many elderly people that have been taken advantage of. I know there's been people that would charge an elderly person $350 for a small yard, and the elderly person doesn't know any better because, they take advantage. There's been situations where if they don't get their grass cut, they get fined by the city. They're already on fixed incomes, so they have to use a little bit of money to get their grass cut, pay somebody. But when we can come cut it for free, they can save that money. They can use it for their medication. They can use it for their groceries. They can use it for stuff they really need.
So it's so much bigger than just taking care of a yard.
Yeah. It's much bigger. And then we got the kids. We're mentoring the kids, showing them the importance of giving back to the community. A lot of parents send their kids to us because I guess they're not doing good in school. But once they start coming out with us, the whole attitude changes. They love to come out. They call us up. Oh, you better save my spot. I want to come out this weekend and stuff like that. So these kids love to give back,
It must feel good for you to see that.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to see these growth in the kids, from the day they started to where they are now. You see a lot of growth in them.
Would you explain how people can either sign up to participate and also how they can reach out for help on the website?
If people need help with the lawns, they can go to our website, weareraisingmen.com. And we have a tab called Service on the website, and they can just fill out that form. And if they want to get their kids involved in the 50-yard challenge, they can also go to our website, weareraisingmen.com, and scroll and look for Our Kids tab. And underneath that, it will say the 50-yard challenge, and they will just have to fill that form out and upload their picture there.
And I asked you this earlier as well, but we haven't addressed this, and we've talked about that. Of course, there's all these, young men or boys that are participating. There's a woman and a young girl in Iowa that's participating. She's she's in her 30s for the challenge. It's called Raising Men.
Yeah.
And you were telling me earlier that's kind of where you started from. That was the idea.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to tell me a little bit more about that. But also, it's obvious that anybody can join or anybody can participate, right?
Yeah. So the original idea of Raising Men was to get more young men involved and give them positive role models and stuff like that. But we also always had an open door policy for the young ladies, because I know there will be young ladies that wanted to come out and make a difference as well. But that's how the name came about. Like at first, when I was playing with names, it was either Raising Men or Raising Kings, but the name Raising Men stuck.
Yeah.
Especially with the picture of the logo, for us, Raising Men just made sense.
Interesting. I just noticed, though, at the end, I'm looking at your shirt right now.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the final version of the man there, or the person, actually has a crown on his head.
Yeah.
So you kind of got the king thing in there, right?
Exactly.
You kind of blended in. That's awesome. Okay, Rodney, how many lawns do you do in a weekend or a week?
It just depends, because when I didn't have school, well, when I had school and then had my internship, I was moving in between classes. But right now, I go to school Mondays, then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I'm in my internship. But today I don't have to go to my internship, so I'm busy with school and stuff.
Sure.
So I used to be.
Now you squeeze them in.
Yeah, squeeze them in, but it's mainly weekends now, on Wednesdays, and on Mondays in between classes. That's when I cut mainly now.
So that's what you do for a break.
Yeah.
Between classes, you go mow a lawn.
Yeah, go mow some lawns. Right now, it gets dark so quick.
Yeah. Have there been any things that, like, behind the scenes where there are like, oh yeah, like it's not always just fun and games, but when you want to do something really great, it takes work because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Are there things that have happened that people just don't know about?
Yeah, equipment breaking down, car problems, all that type of stuff. There have been situations where we go to lawns and someone will say they're a single parent mother and they have a guy living in the house lying to us. And yeah, people, they will say, oh, this is a lawn and this is my grandmother, this is my mother or my grandmother's house. And in fact, they're living in the house with their husband. It's just the husband and them, and there's no grandma in the picture. So there's people that lie about situations. And there's also been a few times where we have been racially profiled in some of the areas we go to in Alabama.
Really?
I remember one time we went to this one area and a lady just pooped right in front of us, got out of the car saying, what are you boys doing out there? And stuff like that. Like wow. Then the homeowner came outside, look, they're good. So, all different types of things come up.
Does any of that stuff rattle you enough to not continue?
No, I don't let that stuff get to me. There's gonna be people like that. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
Just gotta go about your day.
Yeah.
Can't let the negativity outweigh the positivity.
All right. Otherwise, you stop.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it sounds like there's more need than there is that.
Yeah. Of course, man.
You had mentioned earlier too that maybe if people wanted to donate, they could even go on your website because you guys are doing this on your own dime. Like sometimes you probably need equipment or help like that. Can people go online and participate financially?
Yeah, on our website, we are raisingmen.com. We have a donation button. We also have an Amazon wish list for Raising Men Lawn Care Service with different items we need. Like we have Gatorades on there for the kids, snacks for the kids and stuff like that. Because when the kids come out, we take them to lunch as well once we get done. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Rodney that's so inspiring. He's not creating a big brand story, an elevator pitch, or some big about me section for what he's doing. Instead, it seems like every time he sees a need, he just takes steps to address it. So whether it was the elderly man struggling to mow his lawn, or the homeless person who slept in the field, he saw a person in need, and he did the work to help them. And then he rallied others to help too. It's really something to see. One last thought from Rodney. I asked him where he wanted Raising Men Lawn Care Service to be once he graduated from college. His answer points to more people who he can help.
I like to see schools get involved. Maybe schools take on a challenge and make it part of the curriculum. High schools and elementary schools. I like to see global stuff like that. But I like to really see it in schools, I think if you get it in schools, you can touch a lot of kids.
Well, that's great. I can't wait to see what you're doing next.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Not only did I have an amazing time learning about Rodney and his family, aka his community, I also had experiences that helped me see life a little differently. Life in Alabama is different than what I see every day in Northern California, and I am so grateful for Rodney's openness to allow me in. After my time with Rodney, I drove back up to Nashville and caught up with a couple friends I haven't seen in years from my Disney days. And there were even more experiences to be had. You know, it's really a gift to get out of our bubbles and see other parts of the world, even if it's just somewhere else in the US. It'll help you see the world a little differently too. If you want to learn more about Raising Men Lawn Care Service and Rodney's upcoming second 50 State 50 Lawns Tour, check out weareraisingmen.com. You'll find photos from my time with Rodney and our Facebook live stream on the episode webpage. Head over to mybigstory.show and you'll find it as well as other episodes. Then you should come join me on the social communities. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as Oh Hi Christopher. Yeah, in case you're paying attention, that's a brand new handle for all those accounts. So again, that's OHHI Christopher. Oh Hi Christopher. For more resources and inspiration, sign up for the Be Inspired newsletter at christopherswan.info, and you'll get the latest insights, resources, and inspiration delivered straight to your inbox. And if you want to show me some love for the show, or just for me, and you want more content like this, write a review for the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, and spread the word about this episode and the show within your communities. Now, lastly, this production magic for this episode is done from Podcast Monster. And well, that's it for this adventure. I'm Christopher Swan, and this is my big story.